This is the Kalmiopsis wilderness in southwestern Oregon, and this little speck of white here is Emily Camp, which is the last remaining inholding in the Kalmiopsis wilderness. And this is why they want to run me out. I'm not going to let them. Emily Camp is it's private property, and it was patented in 1988 because of the gold that's here. The patenting process is a procedure in which a claimant who owns an unpatented mining claim on federal land applies for what's called a patent, and he goes through a procedure to prove that there is sufficient gold on the premises to meet what's called a prudent man rule. This document here is the mineral examination for Emily Camp that was done by the U.S. Forest Service in 1988 for the purpose of the patent. So I'm going to thumb here to the conclusion where it makes a number of statements about each of the three mining claims having already demonstrated that there's a valuable mineral deposit. And this is repeated here for each of the three claims. The other very important note is that the placer gravels within the boundaries of the mining claim could be mined at a profit as of the date of 1984. In order to get to these conclusions, the Forest Service themselves actually studied the economic viability of mining the property at Emily Camp for its gold content. They studied the capital costs of piping and pumping and sluice boxes and the labor costs and the return on the investment, and they even estimated the cost per bank cubic yard for the cost for production. In so doing, they proved that it could be mined for a profit for the volume of gravel that was there.
During the appraisal, the Forest Service appraiser for the minerals was Gordon Lyda, and he brought all his own equipment down, but he had no idea the terrain that was there. We were up on the side of the mountain, and we had a pumping water, and we were washing the hillside down into this sluice box. And one time, while we were up there, and had sent a lot of stuff through there, and there should have been a bunch of gold. Well, then a bunch of weeds and stuff got on there, and he takes the fire hose and goes across the damn thing, and if there was gold in there, it was blowing it out, you know.
And I was involved with Mr. Peterson, who's up the creek on his patent up there, and halfway through the patent examination, the Forest Service was jury rigging the examination by running a fire hose through the sluice boxes and blowing the gravel out, and all the pay was in it. And he says, no, he says, I had enough, stop it right now. And that was the end of that. That was another game that the Forest Service played. And anyway, he finally just gave it back to him because he got tired of the headache and the hassle. And that's what they tried to do with Carl Ullman too, but he didn't give up.
One other place way up on the side hill ended up, there was a nugget probably about that big in the sluice box. And so Gordon Lyda says, that does it. That's all the value we need for this claim. So that was on number 2.
Gordon Lyda, who was the head of the mineral exam down there when we did the patent exam, told us that he was told to disapprove us, but we found so much gold he could not disapprove our patent application. And so that's the way we got our patent, because Gordon Lyda went against orders from the higher ups in Forest Service to throw Carl off the claims. They didn't even want us down there, period. And I figured the Forest Service figured they'd get rid of us, they'd get rid of the environmentalists suing them.
Well, the people who didn't want you out there would say, well, he stole that property for 50 cents an acre, but what you go through to get the patent is where the rubbing block is.
We went in there in rainstorms and snowstorms and carried our equipment from one end of the claims to the other, and got it surveyed. mineral surveyed by law, and that cost Carl $12,000 or $13,000 to do that. And the time he got the patent, he had over $80,000 involved in it, and they said that he got that lamp for $1.50 or $2.50 an acre. That's a big bogus lie if I ever heard one.
That's quite a significant procedure to go through. It's very expensive, and in today's world you can't do that anymore because they have a moratorium on patents. Even the application you can't even apply. But back in the 80s that was successful, and Emily Camp, which is 60 acres in size, became patented, meaning private property.